Hey y'all, happy Sunday and welcome to this week's live Q&A session. This is the portion of the show where we allow YouTube to send out notifications that we're going live. If you're watching this live Q&A on replay, please scrub ahead until this graphic disappears and the actual show begins. If you're watching live and you have any comments or questions, please go ahead and put them in the live chat. But for now, grab a beverage, sit back, and relax while the countdown timer does its thing. Then we'll get started. Ah, that mellow music just has such a calming effect. I dig it. Happy Sunday, everybody. Hope everybody is doing well. It's getting a bit chillish here. Man, woke up to rainy, cold Sunday, nasty, yucky weather. but that's all right. This too shall pass, and it's good weather for soups, stews, chicken and dumplings, things like that. So I'm a happy guy, especially if they include homemade biscuits. But that's another story. We'll get into that a little bit later. Well, the today's topic, we're going to answer any questions you might have about part 10 of the Absolute Beginner series, where we did the old, let's see, we did draw a line, polyline, draw curves, draw arcs, and then the freehand drawing tool. I've got to amend the instructions on the freehand drawing tool. I totally forgot. I was headed in that direction and then got sidetracked, but my attention span is squirrel on the best of days. So I will fix that error today. But this is why you got to come hit the live streams after the video goes live and y'all here live with me. You're the real ones. You're the real ones. But before we get into any of that stuff, I got to say hello and give a shout out to my friend Steve over at Harneo Media, who says it's cooled down to a brisk 86 degrees Fahrenheit where he is. Steve, I forgot to mention this is the non-gloating zone. Okay, just so you know. Uh, you know who Steve is. You know he's here in the chat. If you got questions for him, feel free to throw them in the chat. But let me tell you, your best bet is to head over to harneilmedia.com, click that contact us link, and shoot him a message with all of your questions there. Now, I've talked a lot about Steve and Harneil Media, and I'm going to keep doing it until he tells me to knock it off. If you are looking to get some information on a website, get that email address like mine, marklindsaycnc.com. Steve's your man. There's a lot to consider here. There are many, many, many things to consider that you probably wouldn't. For instance, if you're thinking about getting involved in any of the affiliate programs through eBay or Amazon, or heck, even Home Depot and Lowe's have affiliate programs, they require a website, not just a YouTube channel. If you are looking to give your business legitimacy and let folks know that you care, having your own website lets folks know that you're serious. Not only that, Steve can help you set up a web store where you can offer your products and services right there directly to your customers, clients, and potential clientele without having that middleman like Etsy or eBay or Marketplace or what have you. You control all of the steps. He could even help you out with a merch supplier, a print on demand company that will create t-shirts, coffee cups, hoodies, sweatshirts. I've got some new merch here on my YouTube merch shelf, some sweatshirts and long sleeve t-shirts because we're getting into that time of year. And Steve helped me out with the design. He helped me out with finding the right print on demand company that handles all the inventory, pays all the taxes, and does all of that stuff, handles all the shipping. I just put everything up on the web store and it's all handled behind the scenes. And it's a great, slick system. So do yourself a favor if you're thinking about any of this stuff, even if it's just kind of one of those passing, thoughts. I wonder. Shoot Steve a message and have a chat with him. He'll take care of you. I'm here to tell you. He's very competitively priced. And the best thing about it is when you deal with Harneil Media, you're dealing with Steve. You're not dealing with some faceless, nameless individual in a call center that you'll never talk to again. So do your favor, do yourself a favor, do your favor, do yourself a favor. There's a link to Harniel Media in every live stream and every video on this channel, and it's that way for a reason. Again, hit that contact us link and give Steve a shout. You'll be glad you did. Thank you, Steve, for everything you do. And thank you for sponsoring Mark Lindsay CNC.com. I appreciate it more than you know. Okay, let's get into me repairing something that I overlooked when we were doing the video earlier this morning. And we're talking about using the freehand drawing tool. Now, when I'm out here just freehand drawing, you can basically make any kind of a organic shape that you'd like. Or if you're tracing or what have you, everything is all well and good. Now, I've just drawn a line out here, just kind of making a mess. But something I forgot to talk about is mentioned over here in these special instructions. And that is if I need to come back and pick up on this line, let's say, and extend it, or I want to continue on, what I'll need to do is come over here and put my cursor, the cursor crosshairs, right on that end point and tap the control button. Now what that's doing is that's joining up with that last point, and now I can continue that line in whatever direction I want to go. Then I can hit the tab button, then release my mouse button, and I now have a closed vector. And I can tell by going into my join open vectors window, and it's showing me right here that I have a closed vector. So that was the part that I forgot about, was picking up on one of these endpoints by going into the tool, hold down the control key, click and start dragging, then you can let go of the control button. And just bring it on around till I get back over here towards where I want to close this up, and hit the tab key. Now I can let go of my left mouse button and it closes that vector. So that was what I totally forgot to do in the video earlier today. So there is that. Now, did we have any questions about anything that I did in the video earlier today, or have any questions at all? Because right now I've got nothing. I mean, and that's kind of an ego boost because that tells me that I did everything right. Let's see here. Butch Miller says, love the videos. May not be new information, but certainly things I didn't know or remember. The review is great for this Marine. Well, it's great for this old soldier too. I believe it or not, every time I get into these videos and start researching what I've done, what I need to do, what I haven't done, and start working with the tools again, I never cease to amaze myself on how much I have forgotten because I don't use it very often. Like the freehand drawing tool, I only use that with bitmap tracing. And it's great to use in conjunction with the automatic bitmap uh, trace within the software, because you can import a bitmap and do the automatic bitmap trace. And it depends on what you're tracing, but more often than not, you're not going to get a perfect trace out of that automatic trace bitmap. So I find that you'll get a lot of good clean vectors, and then you'll get some that are a little janky or they're a little messed up. That freehand drawing tool will help big time. I don't know of any one single click solutions. Like, well, let me go ahead and see if I have let's bring this back. And I think I have a bitmap that I can throw in here. I might even have that mandala. Do I have that mandala? I don't know. Well, no, I don't. I'll go ahead and I'll use this crescent moon. Now that one's pretty small. Yeah, that one's okay. So I'll use that one. And we'll import a bitmap. And I'm going in here. And it was this one. Open. All right, there we go. That's fairly nice size. Now I can go into trace bitmap. And I'm just going to use, we'll do the black. Yeah, there we go. And leave it about right there. And I'm going to preview it. I'm not going to make any corrections at all. I got a pretty decent trace out of this. I'll go ahead and accept, apply, close. Then I'll just go ahead and turn off the bitmap layer so I'm working just with the vectors. Now, these stars may be okay. They don't have the nice sharp points. So what I tend to do is I tend to remake these stars. So I'll come up in the center of this one and just kind of get an approximately the same size. Then I'll start playing around with the various settings. Now it's probably going to be just straight up 35. Let's see if that'll do it. We're a little bit better. Close it. And we get fairly close. I need to zoom in a little bit more and adjust this. And I think that'll work. Yeah, that's about right there. It's close enough for me. Then I'll just select the original star and delete it. Now what happened? Oh, Control Z. Yeah, you can't do that. You have to ungroup things before you start deleting them. So delete that, and that's already a better replacement. Well, this is no different than using the freehand drawing tool. If there was something messed up in the nose or up here in the eyebrows, I could very easily delete that vector, turn my bitmap layer back on, then come in here with the freehand drawing tool and just hand trace this. Just come in and follow along. And I know that I'm getting I'm getting what I want because I'm the one doing it. I'm not at the mercy of the software. So instead of it deciding what I want or how true to the design it's going to stay, I'm the one making those decisions. And tab. We'll close that. So now when I turn off the bitmap layer, I've got a better vector that I could work with than what it provided to me. So using these tools, or all of these tools, in conjunction with these automatic bitmap traces actually kind of help me do a better job of tracing. Now, if I decide that that's a little bit too close, which I think it is, I'll go ahead and nudge it down just a bit. There we go. There we go. That's a little better. So there are many, many ways of doing the same job. There are many, many ways of getting a good result. So I don't look for a one-click solution because more often than not, there really isn't a one-click solution. And that's just part of the process. You have to kind of trust the process and use all the tools at your disposal. And just, I guess the main thing I could say is practice with it because nobody was born knowing this stuff. I don't watch television, so I spend a lot of time just drawing things that I'm never going to cut. But I have the experience of drawing it and figuring out what I want to do. So, um, Ellen says I've rewatched most of them many times, and sometimes that's what it takes. I call it my dirty little secret, but it's not so secret. One of the reasons I make videos is because I can't remember what I did one time 9 months ago. So, for instance, one of our channel members, Kimberly Went, was asking me questions about those mason jar lids that I made 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago by now. I don't remember what I used. I don't remember how. So I have to go back and watch the video to see how I did it. So, but, again, that's taking copious notes, write down everything because I know I'm never going to remember it. So, Butch Miller says it's amazing just how powerful Vectric truly is. Yeah, when you're first getting going and you look at the price tag, it's like, holy cow, that's a lot of money. But after a year or two of using it, you're like, how do they sell this so cheap? Because that's the main reason that I like it is because I just don't have the problems I see other people having with some of their software. And I'm not putting any other software down at all because we all use what we like, what suits us and what fits us. Some people are absolutely in love with Fusion 360, and for good reason. It's a great program. It's just more than I need. It's a lot more than I need. If you're making parts for assemblies, like if you want to make gears for a wooden clock, then Fusion is the perfect program for that. That's what it's made for. I'm on the more artistic side and I don't need that big of a hammer, you know? So Vectric is perfect for me. And I also like the buy once, cry once, and it's done and over. Heck, I used my tax refund to buy VCarve Pro. It was not long after version 8.0 came out. I used my tax refund. So, what the heck? Let's see here. Ellen says she finished her last pumpkin today. That's what they all say. I am done making them this year. That too is what they all say. But you have made and sold the heck out of those things. So, I mean, that basically financed your vacation, didn't it? And not only that, they're just cool. Let's see here what else y'all are talking about. Not much. Boy, I guess I did an excellent job on that video because nobody's asking any questions. Let's see. Ellen says we made 100 and sold 80. Awesome. Awesome. That's fantastic. I love that. I love that. And how many of them are you using for your house and how many of them went to friends or close friends or family? That's what most of my projects are.
is either for us or my friends or family. I mean, you can see I've been digging through my scrap back here, and I'm getting ready to start on a. I'm getting ready to start on a uh, cutting board, end grain cutting board for myself. In fact, what I'll do here is just jump over to that camera. You can see I've been going through my scrap. I got some 8/4 cherry that is both heartwood and sapwood. I got some 8/4 maple. I mean, I got I think that's Goncalo Alvis. I got some ash. I found some mahogany. I have white oak. I've got walnut. I've got myrtle wood. I've got I've got myrtle wood. I've got all kinds of stuff over here I'm going through. And that's simply to get rid of this scrap that's floating around the shop. And end grain cutting boards are a good way of doing that. So I am going to shoot some video on this, and I'll post it over on my other YouTube channel, Mark's other channel. I think there's a link down in the description here. I got real inventive with the channel name, Mark's other channel. Yeah, it's where I put my non-CNC stuff. I don't post a lot over there, but what the heck. Ray Russell, how you doing, Ray? Says making tombstones as I watch this. Now I have a question for you on that, because I've seen a lot of people make tombstones out of various different things. Are you using foam? And I'm asking that because I'm kind of thinking about some tombstones out of foam for my daughter. And I may be sending you an email about that. I think I have your email address because I have seen some things. Steve, my brother, always right on time. There's Mark's other channel. I don't have enough subscribers over there to have a custom Earl, but thank you, Steve. Ray says 1.5-inch foam. Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking about using. But I have a couple questions for you because we're in a very wet environment, and there are a few things that I've heard of people coating the foam with. One of them being, well, I'll get the correct name for it before I shoot you an email. Because I'd like to make a few tombstones for her. Halloween is one of those holidays where you've got so many choices and so many possibilities for great projects that sell or that friends and family just absolutely love. And it's a great opportunity to for yard art. It's depending upon where you live, the weather isn't so bad it'll fall apart because it got rained on, and or get blown into the next county because of the wind, with a few exceptions. But the opportunity for making yard art is really fantastic, and the variety of materials that are weatherproof, it's really cool as well. So let's see here. Kurt says, I made my brother a Bigfoot, upper half from plywood. Looks like he's peeking around a tree with glow in the dark eyes. That's awesome. That really is awesome. I love that idea. John Thompson said, I made a bunch of tombstones a couple of years ago out of 1.5 inch styrofoam, glued two layers together, used liquid nails, then spray painted them. Yeah, I've heard of that as well. And how have they held up, John? They held up pretty good. Okay, Alan Williamson says, you ever used laminated bamboo? Saw it used recently on YouTube and looks a very good finish. I have not. Now, I'm cheap. I'm cheap. So, um, I found a couple of bamboo cutting boards at a thrift store, and I have them. I've been going to try V carving and then cutting on them because they're all messed up. I wouldn't use them for food. God knows where they've been. But I think I paid like a doing is I plan on uh, for the channel. I plan on going ahead and experimenting with those bamboo cutting boards and seeing how they cut and how they carve. Now, I know a few people, and I believe Kurt from Crafty Jan's LLC here. I think he's done bamboo cutting boards with a laser. He's engraved them with a laser, and they look really good. But as far as CNC, I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to. So that's on my list. So let's see. John says, John says, yep, they held up great using the Home Depot green foam. Okay. Okay. And Bob Helta Bridal has also lasered on bamboo. And Kurt says, yes, he does a lot of lasered bamboo cutting boards, mostly with handwritten recipes. That is a big thing. There are a lot of people wanting that. And just going to put it out there. I have always thought that's best left a laser project simply because of what all is involved. CNC, depending upon the material, it can do the job for sure. But I think laser is more suited for that kind of thing. And that's where, folks have found a recipe from grandma and they want to get a cutting board and etch that recipe in that cutting board, then cut out a cutting board shape and hang it on the wall in the kitchen. Perfect for that. And I've seen it a lot with bamboo. So, but I don't have a laser, so I'm behind the times. But um, Kurt, you're going to have to be a little bit more specific. I probably could touch on but I have to know what the is. Just pulling your chain. Just pulling your chain. Okay, Bill Coleman says he has V-carved bamboo cutting boards. How does it work out? How did it work out for you? Any secrets? Kurt, there he is. Try again. Could you touch on the fade and tilt option when creating a shape from a vector in Aspire? Okay, I can do my best. Let's put this back up here. And let's start with this one right here. Now, this is Aspire only, creating the shape, but the tilt and fade of the shape, I believe, is also works in VCarve Pro. So I've got my star selected, and I'm going to split my 2D and 3D view because I like to see what I'm creating here. So I've got my vector, and I'm going to create angular shape components. So I'll click on that, and the profile, what kind of profile do I want here? I'm going to rock this back. And for that's my, yeah, I want to go with degrees. Let's go with, we'll try 45 and see what that looks like. And there is no limit. Let's see what we get with that. No, not exactly what I want. Let's preserve the internal corners. apply. Now I've got my standard resolution, so this is not going to be pretty. Come on. Apply. Okay. I think we're good. Total height, 0.1, 12, 12. All right. Now, the thing to remember about fade and tilt is they are directional. Okay. So if I go into fade and I click on set, and I'll come over here and I'll go click here, then go straight across over here. What I'm doing is I'm telling the software that I want it, let's see, I will take it to 10. So I brought it down. And what that's done is, now it's not going to show it. Come on. Apply. Come on, I wanted a dramatic fade. And I'm not getting a dramatic fade. Let's take it up to 90. Whoops, not 900. 90% and apply. Okay, I don't know if you can see this. This was probably a bad example. But what it has done, I started over here on this corner and went to that corner. Adjusting my fade up has caused from here to here, it's leaned over to that side. So I told it to anchor this side and drop this side down. That's a fade. You're fading that model into the surface. So you're kind of applying perspective downward. Now, let's go back up here to the top. Click off and just select the model. If I want to apply tilt, I'll click on set and I'll start down here and go up there. Okay, so I started here and I went there in that direction. Now we'll set that to 90 as well. Apply. And what tilt does is just the opposite of fade. This side was anchored and it lifted that side. So fade will drop an edge down and tilt will lift an edge up. But what you're doing when you first select, let me find something a little bit better here. Let's come out here and let's just do a circle. Well, I'll start a new sheet. I'll close that. I'll add a new sheet, same size, and that's good enough. We'll go into that sheet. So now this is the active sheet. And go back to my design tab and I'll just draw a circle about like so, close, and come down here, and that's going to be a flat surface with a base height of 0.5. Create. So I've created it. All right. And we can see what that looks like. So I will fade from side to side, set, and I'm going to set my anchor point. My anchor point is going to be this edge. Then I'm going to scoot straight across And the edge that I want to fade down into the material is that one. Now, let's look at what it is with 50%, and you can see, looking at it from the front, you can see that it has anchored here, and it has faded that down there. Okay? Top. Now I'm going to tilt from bottom to top. So I'll select tilt, set. I'm going to anchor it here. I want this edge to stay where it's at. I'm going to come straight down, click on that. We've got it set at 0. Let's set that at 50 as well. Apply. And now we'll take a look. And you see how that lifted that up. So 50 was way too much. Let's go with 10. 10 degrees. There we go. That's a little better. But you see what tilting and fading is doing. So, did that answer your question, Kurt? Basically, fading is tipping something down toward the surface, whereas tilting is lifting up from the surface. So, I don't use those very often, but on occasion, it comes in handy. Like if you have one component sitting on top of another component, and for some reason you keep adjusting your base height and your shape height, but still something wants to poke through, so you can see a little bit of it poking through the component on top, you can tilt that top component or fade that top component and kind of lift it up so you're not getting a huge base height, but you're just kind of tilting one edge up a little bit so it covers that area that's poking through. Now, John, you're absolutely correct. You can tilt and fade in any direction. You can tilt up or you can tilt down. You can fade up or you can fade down. It just depends on if you're using positive or negative numbers. But overall, that's the difference. Is a fade tilts down into the material and a tilt tips up away from the material. Nature's Live Edge says, I found the tilt degrees are not a true angle. I don't know. I'd have to check it out. Are you using that to, were you using the tilted degrees? Were you using, how do I ask this? Were you creating an angle that's something with an angle for it to fit in? Is how you know that didn't quite fit, or? And Brooks is asking, do you bake the tilted faded results? Here in the, I've got it selected. We'll jump over to components and look at the properties. You do not need to bake them. And in fact, when you're in the tilt or fade, there's no opportunity to bake it. Now, you can. Let's see. Where is the bake command? I don't remember. Here it is. You can bake the component, but generally speaking, I was looking for it, Steve, but you're right. Baking a component, you can bake the component if you wish, but generally speaking, baking is for combining two components. Not always, but if I had this sitting on top of a dome, then I could bake the two together, or a dome sitting on top of that, I could bake the two together. But with very few exceptions, this just becomes part of that created component. So baking it isn't really necessary. Now, you can, but if we look at my components list, that's the only component there. So go back to the design tab and let's go ahead and bake it. So I baked it and there is no change to it. I can still go in and tilt and fade it more if I want. So, okay. All right. Nature's Live Edge says I wanted a slope at a certain angle, and when I cut the part, the angle was not what I called for in the drawing. Oh, ouch. Okay. Was it off by quite a bit, or was it just a few degrees, something that you had to play with to discover what it was, or um, simply because trying to remember how it went. Now that might, I think that should have been an accurate slope. I'm trying to think of why it wouldn't have been. It seems to vary on the degrees of the angle of the tilt. Okay, so more tilt, the more it's off, or the less tilt, not so much, or so it sounds like it's proportional. Well, let me take a look here, see something. Edit options, 3D view, 3D confirmation. No, okay. Thought maybe there might have been a tolerance list in here somewhere, and I don't see one. And I don't think it would be in there. No, I didn't think it would be in there. Okay. Now there's no place to adjust that. Could be user error. Well, I mean, the failure is always an option. But you know, can you draw the angle and tilt it to say 10 degrees and check it? I mean, I guess I could. In fact, that's what this was 10 degrees. But I would have to cut one and then check it to make sure that it was right, wrong, or indifferent, and to see how far off it was. So, but that's interesting. I'd kind of be interested in. That's going to have to be something that I do while I'm on hiatus and check it out. Let's see here. Let's go to the right side. I don't know if the measure tool works on 3D. Yellow. Oh, geez, it's got to catch up. Let me go ahead and share this and bring it up full screen so it isn't trying to do three things all at once. Okay, I don't know if that's going to let me do that or not. Let's see. No, it's not going to work in the 3D view. And it's not going to give me any kind of no, it's not going to give me a measurement. No, that's not how it's working. We'll just have to wait and see what, no, it'll put them in the 3D, but it won't let me do any measurements in the 3D. So that's dimensioning. Let's close that and we'll Control Z. I don't want those dimensions. Let's look in the measure tool and let's see, can I? Now I have to do like so. and it's not giving me any kind of an angle there, and it won't work in the 3D view. I'm not concerned. I could probably get a height here. Well, I can get that height very easily, and I started out with a 1/2 inch. It'd be a heck of a lot easier to do this with it cut and on the sitting on the table than I'd be able to do it. So let's see. I will get back to you with my findings. I'm designing a knife rack where the knives are tilted so the magnet pocket bottom needs to be sloped to match the surface. Oh, okay. I see what you're talking about. So you're talking about a magnetic knife rack where the knives won't be sitting horizontal or hanging vertical. They'll kind of have a angle to them. And you're wanting those magnets to sit in those pockets. Okay. Okay. I get it. I get it. So, yeah. For something like that, well, okay. Yeah. Do let me know what you find. Do let me know what you find because that is interesting to me. I hadn't thought about how inaccurate that might be because I be honest with you, I don't use it much. And when I do use it, it's in cases like that star where the numbers aren't as important as does it look good. That's another one of those cases of where if it looks straight, it is straight, you know. So, see, were there any other questions here? Do 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 do. Not seeing anything. Okay, Misty Woods Tradecraft. Dion says I sell laser engraved bamboo boards at craft fairs like yesterday. Well, I hope you had a good week. I hope you had a good weekend at the craft fair. Um, I'm I don't know. Maybe I'm just. Well, it's not maybe. I know I'm just. Craft fairs and me don't get along because my problem, and I know it depends on the fair. It really does. But it's been my experience that when people think craft fair, what they're actually thinking is garage sale. And everybody's looking to lowball you. Everybody's like, I'll give you $3 for that. Dude, that's $150 worth of walnut. No, you know. Or, well, I can get that at Walmart for $20. Why are you talking to me then? So, Carrie Casella says, I believe in the new upgrade Vectric will soon be coming out with. You can use the measure tool. I am a beta tester, and there is a lot of there are a lot more things that are going to be usable in the 3D view, and dimensioning is one of them. I'm don't think I'm speaking out of turn, and I don't think I'm giving anything away because this has already been put out there. One of the things is going to be dynamic dimensioning in 2D and 3D view. So if you dimension something and you have your dimensions set, then you go change the size of it, the dimensions will change as well. It will follow. How much interactivity there is in the 3D view is still yet to be determined. They're still developing things slowly. But dynamic dimensions in the 2D and 3D view are coming. So, plus a few other surprises, but they haven't even told us what all is going to be new. So, okay. Sam Spade says, using the box gadget, the dovetail showed outside the material. Can those angle cuts be moved back on the part? I'm assuming. I have never used the box gadget nor the dovetail gadget. So I'm the wrong person to ask about that. I have never, ever used the box gadget or the dovetail gadget. So I'm the wrong guy. Sargon is asking, how do you set exact distance between the letters in a text? The use case here is Braille text, and ADA has very set distance between each letter. The quick and dirty way is guides. There's another quick and dirty way. Let me bring you guys back up here. And I'm going to get rid of all of this here. Delete. And we'll get into some text. It's all a part of kerning. And let's say my name. Now, there are several ways of doing this. If I've got my name here, what I can do is either use guides to set the distance. So in other words, let's go back into my 2D view here. I can drag a guide here to this corner, for example. No, I want it right there on that corner. You going to do this to me again? Right there. Thank you. Geez. And let's say I need that to be 1/8 of an inch. And I can create a relative guide 0.125. Create the new guide, close. And now I can kern that in. If I'm doing it within text, I can bring that in. And you can see my cursor has changed. And now that's moved both of them in. That's one way, but you'll have to play with it. Control Z. Another way is to convert them to curves and then do them manually. Convert to vectors. There we go. Then select all of them and drag. Then delete one guide. Drag that puppy right there. Create a new guide, close. And just basically manually move it. Now I know that's a pain in the tush, but that's the only way that I'm aware of. Yes, you can snap with guides, which is why I was kind of about the whole thing. It should have been snapping. Turns out it wasn't. And now take this, delete that, and that, believe it or not, is lined up on the R. Relative to guide, create new guide, close. Now I got to bring this one out here. Now I understand you're doing Braille, Sargon, but that's about the best way I know to do it. That does give even spacing. I wish within the text tool, come on, I wish there was a way to space the letters, but I can't find one. I cannot find a way to get them all spaced evenly. So those are your choices, pretty much. And yes, it should have snapped to the guides. Let's see. Is there a difference in the angle using a flat edge tool versus a ball nose tool? I'm guessing you're talking about the when we were talking about the tilt and fade and how it was not true to the angle. There shouldn't be a difference in the angle. There shouldn't be. It's going to depend more on your step over on the ball nose. You will probably get better results with a ball nose. But I guess you could use because the ball nose is going to use the center of that bit. And the software is going to calculate the vectors. If you were using an end mill to cut that slope, it would use the edge of the bit. But I think that would, the tool offset could be, but I don't know. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I just cut a shim and use the drill press, but that's me. I understand the reason for using a CNC router, and it should be very easy to do. But yeah, okay, cut it with a 16th inch tapered ball nose. That shouldn't be the cause of the issues. That shouldn't be the problem. In Braille, isn't it dots? So you could use the array tool for spacing. You could draw a bunch of squares and space those squares and then put the Braille characters within those squares, I guess. But like yeah, there you go. Ellen has said the same thing basically. Could you do an array of squares or circles spaced a certain distance apart, then center the object in the array pattern? Does that make sense? Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of ways to skin the proverbial cat. But what you're going to have is an issue, and this gets into superscript, okay? And I'll show you what I mean. And I don't know anything about Braille. I can't read Braille. I've never done anything in Braille. But if you were to make a bunch of squares or circles, this letter is a lot wider than this letter, which is a lot wider than this letter, which is completely different from this letter. So I have 4 different widths here. The thing is, this edge of the Braille character has to be a certain distance from this edge of the Braille character. So without knowing what size these squares were and what size these characters are, that would be difficult to do. And then there's a different spacing for gaps between the words. So superscript on computers take this space into account because they know that this letter is narrower than this letter, and these spaces need to reflect that. Whereas on an old-fashioned typewriter, the letters were as wide as they were. And the keys that actually hit the ribbon that typed on the page were as wide as they were. So, yes, there are several Braille fonts out there. There are several Braille fonts out there. The point is, the spacing between the letters has to be a certain distance. And if you've got some letters this wide and some letters this wide, you've got to go by the space, not by putting it in the center of a square. Does that make sense? So, but I got to claim ignorance on Braille because I don't know Braille characters. So, okay, Brooks says Braille is based on 3-row and 2-column matrix, and some letters do not use both columns. Exactly. So it's kind of like the letter I is narrower than the letter O. Well, I would imagine it would be very similar in Braille, where you have some that use one line of that matrix and some that use two. So your sizes, your widths are going to be staggered, and they've got to be a specific distance apart. So I will, here's what you do, Sargon. Shoot a feature request to Vectric and ask for the ability to set a distance between characters. Because, I mean, to be ADA compliant, you have to have a certain specific distance between the characters and spacing between words. That's a good feature request. I'll make that feature request as also. So the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Shoot a email to Vectric. Who knows? But right now, currently, there is no way to set an automatic space between the characters, and that would especially come in handy with the with Braille. Also, the ability to print from right to left for like Hebrew or Arabic or things like that. Eighth Center. Ask on Hamilton's channel too. He just done a bunch of Braille stuff. Yeah, did you happen to look at that attachment he used? $3,500. It's cool, don't get me wrong, but I'm a home hobbyist. I can't justify it. So, but what Hamilton was doing wasn't so much Braille as it was he was doing pointillism. Yeah, with Hamilton's discount, it's 3,400. So don't get me wrong, it's cool. For those of you who didn't see it, Hamilton Dilbeck did a video. I don't remember if it was yesterday or the day before, in which they set up a 3D cartridge, a 3D printing cartridge that uses a UV resin. And it uses the surface tension of this UV resin to deposit dots. And it's made specifically for Braille. But he also came up with a way of doing pointillism of portraits. And he did the Mona Lisa in points of this UV resin. And very cool. It looked very cool. But for $3,500, yeah. So, all right. Okay. If there are no more questions, I think we'll go ahead and wrap this up. It would see. I would have to dig into some Braille stuff. Oh, Steve had just posted. You know what? I will do that too. I'll post a link to Hamilton's video. I'm writing myself a note. I'll post a link to Hamilton's video in the description of this video as soon as we're done here. And it was a very cool attachment for the CNC. And it's, but I just, as a home hobbyist, without a need for it, I just can't justify it. But it is cool. And sometimes that but it is cool is enough justification, but not for this cowpoke. I got too many other things I need to spend money on. All right. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Again, y'all, this was, okay, I got to change what I said. This is the second to the last edited video for the channel for this year. I have one more video and I'm in the middle of editing, and my channel members know exactly what I'm talking about. I can't say when that's going to come out, but it will be sooner rather than later. Between now and the first of the new year, that is only going to be the only edited video I post. I will not be doing any more edited videos until after the new year. The live stream schedule will not change. I will still be doing open Q&As every Sunday. I'm working on getting some guests as a part of these live Q&As, and we'll see how that works out. Members only. That live stream schedule will not change as well. I'm still going to be doing the members only on Monday, 5:30 Pacific, 8:30 Eastern, and we'll go as long as you guys can stand me. There is no time limit. So tomorrow we're going to get into some scaling, meaning enlarging or reducing, and we're going to go through the stack text design as well. So I'll reach out to you, Greg. There's one right there. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow evening, plus your comments, questions, and your projects. Members, send me some projects, man. I haven't gotten any this week. I'm starting to go through withdrawals. If you don't know what I'm talking about, or you'd like information on becoming a channel member, just look down there below this video panel. You'll see the join button. You click that join button, and the panel's going to pop up. The video is going to play, tell you all about channel membership. We got a great group. My channel members are phenomenal. Love these people to death. And got to meet up with one yesterday for brunch. So do yourself a favor. Join if you'd like to. Also, you'll see the products thing down there in the corner. I think it's this corner down here. Click that little products thing. Check out the new merch. I got sweatshirts. I got long sleeve t-shirts. I got all kinds of stuff over there. And until next week, go do something cool. Go make some chips. I'm sorting through scrap wood. I got all kinds of stuff I got to get going. Thank you for spending part of your Sunday with me. Y'all take care.